Weekend we have a main event bout between Rafael Fiziev and Mateusz Gamrot, and I thought I'd just break this one down a bit more in depth. So Rafael Fiziev is the younger man in this fight against Mateusz Gamrot. He's 30 years old. Mateusz Gamrot's 32. Uh, Fiziev's 12-2. Mateusz Gamrot 22-2. But there is arguments to be had that Mateusz Gamrot should have lost to Arman Tsuzuki, and there's an argument that he lost to Jalen Turner as well. But there's also an argument he beat Guram Kutateladze. So, it's a mixed bag of results here. But how I got this fight going, I think I favour Rafael Fiziev a lot here. I know a lot of people are going to think, well, Rafael Fiziev lost to Justin Gaethje, like he slowed down a little bit in there. But, Justin Gaethje showing he's actually in the best form of his career right now. Like, I think Justin Gaethje is the best he ever has been. He looked really good in that fight against Dustin Poirier. And, watching that fight with Fiziev back, Fiziev doesn't look too bad having such a competitive fight with Justin Gaethje, given, Justin Gaethje went out there and starched Dustin Poirier in that second round and looked really improved. He actually does look a lot better now, Justin Gaethje. He's put on some muscle. His cardio's gotten better somehow when he's gained muscle. His skill overall skill set's gotten better. He's mixing stuff up now, which also says to you how good of a striker Rafael Fiziev is. That Justin Gaethje of all people had to actually go in there and mix up the striking. A lot of the time with Justin Gaethje fights, he'll just strike and strike. He doesn't care. But it was good to see him actually mix stuff up against Fiziev. But even then, Fiziev looked really good in that fight. And there's an argument that Fiziev actually beat Justin Gaethje. I know people don't want to hear that, but I think there is actually generally an argument for Fiziev to beat Gaethje. And Gaethje only got one of them takedowns, and it was just an out of nowhere sort of thing. Like, you don't really expect Gaethje to grapple. But Rafael Fiziev has really solid defense. I think this fight's going to look pretty similar to the Rafael dos Anjos versus Fiziev fight. Against dos Anjos shot 16 takedowns. He only got 2 of them. And the takedowns he did get, Fiziev just bounced right back up from. He stuffed 14 takedowns against RDA, got him in the 5th round. So I know people say he doesn't have good cardio, but his power was still present in that 5th round, and that's when he got the finish on RDA. Bobby Green shot 2 takedowns. Fiziev stuffed them. What other, Hanato Moicano got his takedown stuffed and he got KO'd. And also, look at Alex Wyatt. He's not the highest level guy, but he shot 11 takedowns, all of them stuffed by Fiziev. Fiziev's got some really solid takedown defense, and I think he's just going to stuff all these takedowns at will from Gamrot, and I think he's going to get him out of there in the first 2 rounds. Now, why else do I think this? It's not just because of his takedown defense. It's the striking that Mateusz Gamrot has. It's borderline amateurish, his striking. His defense is horrible. The way he throws shots, he fights like a woman mixed martial artist, and that's not to be disrespectful, but just look at, he strikes a lot like, I guess like Michelle Waterson, or even like he's got some Juliana Pena type style. Like the way he throws punches, it's just not, it's not good at all. And maybe he throws like that so he can try and get entries and get on doubles and get singles, and go for takedowns. But it's generally just not. It's not. It doesn't look good, and he doesn't seem to have much power either. So I think he's just going to be a sitting duck while that fight's on the feet. I think he's just going to get bombed, and we've seen him get dropped quite a lot. Jalen Turner dropped him twice, but one of them might have been off balance. They only counted 1 knockdown. Beneil Dariush fucking bombed him really badly. He got dropped by Guram Kutateladze. Had a competitive fight with Carlos Diego Ferreira where, Ferreira only lost because his rib got broken. But before that, he was actually doing pretty well against Gamrot. Arman Tarzukian dropped him with a spinning back fist and, arguably won that fight. It probably should have gone to Arman Tarzukian if we're being honest. He did get a KO against Scott Holtzman, but, Holtzman is the same guy who got whooped by Clay Guida in 2022. Obviously, and also Scott Holtzman was like 37 at the time, so he was way past his prime in that fight. You know, but and then he beat Jeremy Stephens, but Jeremy Stephens is also on a pretty bad losing streak at the moment. He lost to Jose Aldo, Zabit, Yair, Kelvin Cater, then Gamrot, lost to Clay Collard, beat Miles Price by split decision, which is, the fact that fight was that close is bad. Then he lost to Nathan Schultz by arm triangle, which, that's not a good look by any means at all for Jeremy Stephens. So not a well-aged win at all. And then even that loss to Guram Kutateladze, he's not aging too well. He lost to Damir Ismagulov and then lost to Elvis Brenner afterwards. So that's just, that's not aging very well for Gamrot. And even that Beneil Dariush loss isn't aging well. He lost his next fight afterwards to Charles Oliveira, where he just got destroyed and dusted in the first round when, Charles Oliveira is normally a bit of a slow starter, but he just went out there and just fucking destroyed Dariush. I know he got held down for a little bit, but still, you don't really see Charles Oliveira go out there and show no fear at all towards an opponent. Like, eventually he builds into fights, but against, he normally loses first rounds. Like, even Justin Gaethje had to drop him and everything before he came in and won that first round. But with Dariush had nothing for him, really. So, yeah, none of these losses and wins are aging very well for Mateusz Gamrot. Even that Jarlin Turner competitive fight doesn't age well when you see that Dan Hooker goes in there and beats him very convincingly compared to Gamrot did. Like, Gamrot arguably lost to Jarlin Turner. I think a lot of people would argue that. So, yeah, these wins and losses aren't aging very well for Gamrot. While on the other end, Rafael Fiziev, that loss to Justin Gaethje is aging pretty well. Gaethje's looking in the best form of his career. Riddell, yeah, that win's not aging the best. Bobby Green, that win isn't aging too bad. Obviously, after the Fiziev fight, he went on to win 2 fights. Then he lost to Islam Makhachev, where no shame, and then lost to Drew Dober. But he bounced back with a win over Tony Ferguson. But yeah, to make things short, I think Fiziev's he's beat the better level of competition. I know people are going to point to that Arman Tarzukian win, but Gamrot definitely didn't win that fight against Arman Tarzukian. I know on paper you can say he did, and he did make it very competitive, but yeah, it wasn't a good look. And the fact he's getting dropped by Arman Tarzukian is never a good look because Tarzukian's not really the best on the feet, But yeah, I think Gamrot's, he's tough, but he's taken so much damage that I think that Fiziev's going to be the one to get him out of there. While this fight's on the feet, he's going to be a sitting duck. I think Rafael Fiziev's just going to put a beating on him. He's going to boot to his body. I think he's going to damage his body. I think he's going to land some really heavy counters to the head and, the chin of Mateusz Gamrot. Like, I think he'll mix up body shots and then he's going to unload a real, powerful 1-2 combo that will probably get Mateusz Gamrot out of there. At the very least, I reckon Mateusz Gamrot's getting knocked down in that first round. Maybe he survives to the second, but I think he's going to get dropped a lot. I just don't see him having much success in this fight. Obviously, Mateusz Gamrot does have really good pace on him, but, Jarlin Turner doesn't have the greatest takedown defense, and he was stuffing a lot of Gamrot's takedowns, which, isn't a good look, because Rafael Fiziev, on the other hand, has really solid takedown defense, in my opinion. And Yeah, I don't see this fight going very well for Mateusz Gamrot. Now I could be wrong here. Maybe Mateusz Gamrot's going to use all of his toughness points. He's going to, survive some real like a strong output from Rafael Fiziev in the first two, and then maybe get a submission or a TKO or just win the last three rounds. But I just don't see it. If I'm being honest, I just think Fiziev's got such a big advantage on the feet and has such solid takedown defense that this is just going to be a really bad night for Mateusz Gamrot. Now, I could be wrong here. Maybe, maybe I'm just completely wrong. Maybe Mateusz Gamrot goes out there and KOs Fiziev, but I doubt that's going to happen. I think if Fiziev can survive a three-round back and forth fight with Justin Gaethje, then he's for sure capable of surviving on the feet with Mateusz Gamrot. Like I said, Mateusz Gamrot's striking is just very shaky, and his chin's always out. I'd say he's got good re- recoverability. He recovers really quickly, but he gets hurt so much, and his defense isn't very good. So yeah, I just see this fight playing out with Fiziev's just going to put a real bad beating on him, and yeah, after that, I don't know what you do for Mateusz Gamrot. He would have to fight somebody back in the rankings. Maybe you could actually do Mateusz Gamrot versus Dan Hooker next or something. Because yeah, I'm very confident actually on Rafael Fiziev. I feel like this is just such a good stylistic matchup for him. It's one of his. Like I know people will think that the grapplers are probably the real hard matchups of Fiziev, but I actually disagree. I think grapplers are his best matchups because his takedown defense is actually solid, like really good takedown defense. And maybe I'm overhyping and overrating his takedown defense, but from what I've seen, it's just really solid. And I think it's solid enough to, you know, negate the grappling from Gamrot and then just destroy Gamrot because of how amateurish his striking looks. But, all respect to Gamrot, this is just, I have to give my honest takes on this. And that's just how I see Gamrot's striking game. I think it's sort of amateurish. It's not the greatest striking. He's got really good grappling, very solid grappling, but also at the same time, when he does get takedowns and he goes for all these takedowns, he never does damage with them. It's why a lot of people fought Turner on that fight. Like he'll get takedowns, but I'm not saying he's a full-on lay and prey fighter, but a lot of the times he seems like he goes so hard going for the takedowns. Once he actually gets the takedowns, he doesn't even do anything with them. So I could honestly see Fiziev taking a decision here just by doing more damage because yeah, not Fiziev, sorry. Gamrot really needs to work on doing damage when he gets these takedowns because yeah, that Arman Tazoukian fight, a lot of people fought Tazoukian won. Gamrot did end up getting the decision, but you got to look at the fight. He was winning because of his scrambles. He has really good scrambles. I'll give him that. Like he's got a fun grappling style when he versus other grapplers, but he doesn't do any damage. Like that's the thing. The guy does no damage. He, that's what costs him in a lot of these fights. But still, that's another way I see Fiziev getting this done by decision, just by Gamrot not doing enough when he does get takedowns or goes for takedowns. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody needs to inform him of the MMA rule set, the unified rules, because a lot of people they don't realize that it's not just control. You actually have to do stuff when you get control. Like that. I think that's what probably cost Gamrot in that fight against Guram Kutateladze as well, because Guram stuffed a lot of his takedowns, but from what Gamrot did get, he really didn't do much with it. But yeah, I'm waffling on a little bit here, but I really like this fight for Fiziev. Like I say, Gamrot's been dropped so many times now. Dropped against Guram, dropped against Arman Tazoukian, dropped against Benil Dariush. He's just dropped against Jarlin Turner. He's been dropped in all of his last few fights. His last three fights, he's been dropped. You can't just keep getting dropped like that. I think Fiziev is the best striker he's fighting as well. I think Fiziev's above a Guram Kutateladze. I think he's above Jarlin Turner. He's definitely above like a Benil Dariush and an Arman Tazoukian. And I know, I feel like you keep getting cracked like that. I mean, he might seem like he has a good chin. He might seem tough, but it's your toughness runs out, and when you're getting dropped in every single one of your fights, it's not gonna your durability is gonna keep falling and falling. And I think this fight's gonna be the one where it gets cracked because yeah, he's been knocked down way too many times in his last few fights. I think that damage is going to catch up to him, and I think Rafael Fiziev gets him out of there in that second round or first round. I'm going to lean second round. I think because Gamrot is tough, I think he will get knocked down in the first round, but I do think he will survive that first round barely. He might be on his way out, but he'll find a way. He'll scramble his way around to negate the damage from Fiziev. But once that second round happens, I think Fiziev's not going to go too hard for that finish in that first round, and I think he's going to catch him again in that second. And yeah, I think that's going to be all she wrote. So yeah, I'm confident for this pick. Rafael Fiziev second round TKO. I won't say full on KO because, like I say, Gamrot's tough. He might get flush knocked out, but I think he will recover pretty quickly. So, like I say, he's got really good recovery. But yeah, I really like this fight for Rafael Fiziev. So yeah, I'm going for him by second round TKO. So yeah, let me know what you think of my prediction. Let me know if you agree, disagree. If you've got Gamrot winning, if you've got Fiziev winning. Just, yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. So yeah, thanks for watching. Give this video a like. And yeah, subscribe if you ain't subscribed already. Thank you.